Hey guys, I'm going to do problem 1724. It was a homework problem. I know we did it in class, but I like to record problems from the chapter to review on the test, and also this will be helpful on the final if we have something similar to this. That way we won't have to go back to in our notes. We can just watch this video. So this is basically a weighted average problem. And then later they asked us to do a FIFO using the same data. So what I'm going to do is I'll just complete this problem, this production cost worksheet, using the weighted average method, and then I'll do the exact same video using the FIFO method, and that way we'll get to see how they're different. So I went ahead and filled out this production cost worksheet, and then we'll just fill in the numbers. But I do want to note some differences in the production cost worksheet that were not the same as what we did in class. First of all, the professor never labeled his production cost worksheet, and I know based on taking his class previously that you do need a title of the worksheet, and you need a date and a heading. If you don't, he'll likely count off points. So go ahead and make your title, and notice this title has the assembly department. You can do a production cost worksheet for any different department, so you do need to title which department you're using. Also, this helps me remember if there are multiple departments. For example, there could be assembly department, and then this could be the second of three different departments. Well, if you know it's the second of three different departments, you're likely to have transferred in cost. Now, we didn't have transferred in cost in this particular example, but it does just go to show you that the different departments will mean that you have different production cost worksheet formats based on what that department needs. So go ahead and put your department in there, and then put your time. Now the time, it's important to note that for production cost worksheet, this is for a period, month ended. It's not for a date. So it's for the entire month. So that I put month ended May 30th, and all that information comes from the heading. But just organizing in that way really helps me to basically figure out what I'm doing, and prevents me from making mistakes. Also, the professor, he kind of, when he made these production cost worksheets, he jumbled it up a little bit. So I fleshed this out a little bit, and I'll tell you how. First of all, what I did was separated units and costs. And I did this because I've taken this class previously, and we've had to do this previously. And by making this production cost worksheet in this format, it carries over into any kind of production cost worksheet, whether it's FIFO, whether it's weighted average, whether there's spillage, whether there's not spillage. So knowing the entire format fleshed out helps you regardless of what type of problem it is. So in this production cost worksheet, you'll notice units to account for these blocks are symmetrical. And these blocks right here are exactly the same as these blocks down here, except the only difference is this says units and this says costs. Okay, so this block is the same as this block, and this block is the same as this block down here. The only difference is down here in the costs, we have to divide for the EUP. So that's why these two little lines are different. But otherwise, these two sections are exactly the same. By having these exactly the same and formatted in this way, it helps me memorize the sequence and the format of the worksheet, and it almost guarantees that you're not going to make any mistakes. So that's why I've formatted it in this way. If you want to watch another video basically talking more about the format, I have that in my other videos, so you can watch that on your own. And the last little comment that I'll make is, to make things clear, he put these total costs when we did them in class, he put them in the physical flow box. And to me, that is a little bit confusing because we're not actually going to use the physical flow box down here in the cost. So I moved those total costs out here by itself and gave it its own column. That makes things a little bit easier to understand and prevents me from making mistakes. Also, I crossed out these up here because we're not going to use them here, and I put these total lines in all the correct places. So basically, having this format set up like this prevents me from making any errors. So now all we have to do is fill it out. So now we just fill out the boxes. Beginning, work in process, inventory. Notice we skip here and we skip here. These are just headings. And they just help with formatting. So we just put 100 here. Started in production, 510. Okay. 510. Auto sum. Okay. Now units completed and transferred out. Completed during May, 450. And then ending inventory, 160. Auto sum those. Okay, and now we come to the part where we have to calculate the EUP right here for each one of these. And I have this little format here. This format applies to weighted average and FIFO method. Now, if you're using FIFO method, you're going to need this top line right here. If you're using weighted average, all you need are these two lines right here. And I talked about that in a previous video. If you want to watch that, it's in the other videos. But in order to use this method, what I do is I like to put these little notes down here at the bottom. I like to put them for the degree of completion, direct materials, in the beginning inventory. I like to put that up here at the top. And it's 80% for direct materials. And it's 35% here at conversion costs. And I talk about why I put those up there at the top and up there at the bottom in that previous video. So if you want to watch that, you can. And then down here at the bottom, I put the same information for the bottom part, 80% and 40%. Okay. So now, following this formula, if we had the FIFO method, we would use 3 different calculations, and we would use, this is the calculation for these top numbers right here. This is the calculation for the middle number. You just carry that over, and then this is the calculation using the bottom number down here, and that's why I've separated from top, middle, bottom. But in this case, we're using weighted average, so we can just cross this top part out. We're not going to use that at all to use for the weighted average method. So we could just cross these numbers out up here at the top. And all we're going to do is follow this format here. So we come over here and it says just use the number. So that's 450. Carry that across. And then for the conversion cost, just use the number. Just carry that across. And then for the ending, we use this, the number times the percentage. So we take the number multiplied times this bottom percentage. That's why it's on the bottom right there. And here we take the number, multiply it times down here, the bottom percentage. Okay? And then we total it. Okay? Total it. All right, so that gives us our EUP numbers for each one. Now we come down here to the costs. We just fill in these cost numbers. Okay. Beginning work in process costs, 459, 888. Started in production right here, it says added during May, but that's the same thing as started in production. So it's 3/23/7000. Let me make sure I have that right. 3/2/37/00. Okay. And then this is 142/570. And this is 19116/000. Okay, and then total these up. Total these up. Total these up. All right. So now we come down to this part, and that's why I've added these two lines right here. It just tells me what to do. And this is also the format we used in his previous class, so it's familiar to me. So divide by total EUP, so you just carry this down right here. 578, that's our total EUP. Total EUP up here is 114. And we divide by, we just take this number, divide by this number. That's our cost per EUP. This is this divided by this. Okay, and this is our cost per EUP. And now we take this number to get these costs right here completed and transferred out. We just take this number, multiply it times completed and transferred out. Go up here, completed and transferred out. Okay, that's why it's good that they're the same, and that's why this format for me is useful. And then we take this, multiply it times ending the WIP inventory, then total those up. Take this, multiplied times completed and transferred out. Take this, multiplied times ending, and then auto sum those. Auto sum those, and then auto sum those. Quick checks to make sure you're correct. This number matches this number. So that basically means they're correct. This number equals this number equals this number. So those are all the values, and I've checked them against their homework, and it's correct. The main difference is basically this format is a little bit different than what the professor showed us in class. But if you memorize just these blocks and then carry them down to cost, then remember these two little exceptions. It helps you complete any type of format, whether it's weighted average or FIFO. And I'll go ahead and make another video using the same data, using the same format, but changing it to FIFO method, and I'll show you how the weighted average and the FIFO method are different. So I hope this helps on your test, and good luck.